If you disagree, stay where you are. I agree. So you can sit down.
Actually, I had no expectation because I had a lot of friends who were students here, so they just told me that all the details about how to study here, what cultural differences we have with each other. So that's why I came here and I knew a lot about Korea. And when I came here, it wasn't my first time, it was my second. Of course, it's not my third, as you said. It was second time. And for the first time, I was here as a tourist. And after that, Korea was my field of study. And after my friends said everything to me, every details about Korea, I was fully informed. So that's why I met every expectations about Korea. And you?
And well, for me, I think it's just because Hong Kong is nearby with Korea, and what I learned from Korea is through some K-pop and K-dramas.
Okay.
And I mean, I am a Korean culture lover, so I think it's nothing much difference that I thought.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so I think it matched my expectations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I have my disagreeers step forward, please? And then discuss about what was it that you expected but that didn't match your expectations.
I didn't really have expectations coming to Korea. So I think for me it was just okay, let's give this place a go and let's see how it goes and let's see what I learn and what I discover. So I don't think I had a fixed expectation, and that's why my answer is ambiguous. I couldn't decide whether it met my expectations or it didn't. Yeah.
But you Korean, so you knew a lot about culture even if you were living in another country.
I think that's one thing that also affects my answers, because I already knew some parts of Korean culture. So I guess it's not something that culture is not something that I expected because it's already kind of a part of me. So, yeah.
I think same. I didn't really have expectations, mostly because when I applied to come here as a full-time student, my parents made me research it. They literally made me do a presentation. But so I kind of researched the good and the bad and stuff like that. I think I did kind of have rose-colored glasses though with it. I thought things would be more dreamy and stuff like that, and more, I don't know, more positively. I didn't expect some of the struggles that I went through. So I think my time in Korea, based on what I thought it would be, definitely is fluctuated. I've had good times, I've had bad times and stuff like that. But yeah, that's.
My initial thought when I came here is I was never in Asia, and this is the world metropole Seoul. It's a very different kind of place than Europe, for example. And I came here, and surprisingly, not that many things were drastically different. So that was positive and negative at the same time. But for example, in Germany, we have a huge problem with digitalization, and here everything's digitalized. And I was okay, if this is the case, then everything should go smoothly and run quickly. And for example, in my case, I haven't got my ARC yet. My stay is already over, close to over, which is not a positive thing. So even though it's all digitalized, it doesn't go that smoothly. It doesn't go that well. And that was something I didn't expect it to happen.
Yeah, I think there's some things that I agree with that is the ARC, you need to have an alien residency card, to have a phone number, to be able to do numerous amounts of things, to even have a coupon account, which is their Amazon for Americans. But I also think that in some ways it exceeded my expectations in the way that I have never been in a big city before. So public transportation here, it's incredible. For I don't know, 50 USD, a month, you can go anywhere within Seoul for unlimited amounts of times. And being able to just like experience all of that was super cool. That definitely exceeded my expectations with how big everything possibly could be. But I think in some ways, going along with what you were saying, is Seoul kind of, I thought it was going to be like the metropolis, just capital of like technology and everything, and it was going to be so cool. But in all actuality, it wasn't that much better technology-wise than other countries. It wasn't more or less developed than other countries with that type of things. They might have been more flashy when it comes to like the big signs and the K-pop and stuff like that. But I feel like Seoul is seen as like a big technology capital of the world. But in actuality, it's not that much different than other parts of the world. Because if any of us have tried to use the free Wi-Fi across Seoul, it doesn't really work that well. If you don't have ARC, you can't do it either.
That doesn't really work for me either.
Yeah,
For me, it works very well, to be honest.
dang. Maybe it's SKT. But then in other ways, I think with the education system, I don't know if it exceeded or it was like less than my expectations in certain ways. I think that to a certain extent, I expected maybe a more individualized education system, but because of how big Korea University is, it is really hard to get that. And I think that learning and growing up with Koreans, I grew up with foreign exchange students for 6 years from South Korea, so I had an expectation for what South Korean culture would be. It's a bit more closed off and less individual than you'd think, in the way that like people just mind their own business, but they also maybe silently judge you if you're like on the subway or something like that. I know being tall, I get a lot of looks from Koreans, but so yeah, I think that that's sort of been the ups and downs.
Okay, I see myself having a future in Korea. Everyone that agree, please step forward.
So how about me first? Like, because the most important reason that I come here is to be an art director in here. So I do see myself living here and have a job and take a full-time work in here. Yeah.
So for me, for example, I'm coming from a little village. So this big city surprises me, but I really like it. I like the transportation system that they're offering here. And I really got comfortable in using it and the freeness to go all over the place. As well, that the people here are very kind and very friendly and very respectful. I like that. And as a materials engineer, you have a lot of possibilities here. For example, with the semiconductor industry, with Samsung, with the big steel factory, which is near Busan. We have a lot of possibilities here. And at the same time, you can work internationally when you have an international background. You can be the mediator between international firms for the Korean government or for the European government, for example. And those possibilities could lead to a future living here. Yes.
Okay, and can I have the disagreeers step forward, please?
I think that the job market is way oversaturated. If I go back to the US, I can get paid about 3 times more than I can in Korea. The living situation is much easier in Korea, like you said, the transportation and the cost of living is way cheaper. But I think that the quality of living isn't necessarily what I guess I've been used to, in the way that I like more space and I like having like an open yard or places to like do athletics that I don't have to pay money for. But in Korea, you have to pay money for anything, whether it's climbing or like volleyball, basketball, anything you need to pay for. And so I think for me, it's that quality of life is kind of down, and also just the job market, like I said, is way oversaturated. So yeah.
But if you are looking at the pay, for example, nowhere in the world you get as much money as in the US. But for me, I would never live there. Just as a personal opinion.
Well, I mean, from my opinion, I think you said that here is smaller than US. Yeah, like the place you have the like.
Like you said, you
athletes.
like wide areas.
Yeah, you like
Yeah.
wide
The
areas.
yard.
Yeah. But I mean, for a person come from a small city, I think it's bigger a lot already. Yeah.
Why do you think Seoul is bigger
Yeah.
than where you're used
Because
to?
Hong Kong is just like a little place. Yeah.
I think for me, it's kind of like the same thing with the job situation, because like I want to work in like media and like I want to do like film production and stuff like that. And although I think Korea like film is looking for like foreign perspectives, I think it's really hard for like to enter that kind of job market. But also like I feel like there's a limit if I did enter like that sort of like job, like the film industry in Korea. Like I could never go past a certain level as a foreigner. I feel like I couldn't be like in a position of like management or something like that. And that's something like I do want to do, you know. Also like I just feel like Korea in general, like I like living in Korea. I love like the transportation and like just there's always something to do. But I notice like when I go back to the States for like vacation or something like that, and then I come back here, I'm so much more relaxed in the States. And then when I come back here, I'm like immediately drained.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's always like as soon as I step off the plane, it's like, do, like go. You know, I'm always doing something and I'm just exhausted every day. Like, I feel like even in my house, like I can't really get rest, you know? So like, I feel like as far as like, you know, in the long term, like I could definitely see myself coming back here maybe for like a year or something or like just visiting. But like for living, like having a future, I don't think so.
For me, I've thought about what it might look like if I have kids in the future, and where would I want to raise my kids, and what kind of influences would I want my kids to have. And looking back at the way I grew up, so I'm South Korean by nationality, but I was born and raised outside of Korea for almost 20 years, and then I came to Korea University for the first time. I came to Korea for the first time to attend KU. And I think a lot of the merits that I have, a lot of the benefits that I have are being able to speak multiple languages, being able to think in different perspectives and give more unique ideas that aren't very common in Korea. And when I think about how I want to raise my kids, I think that's the kind of influences I'd like to give them. Some different experiences, lots of different creative experiences. And I think a lot of our answers are coming from whether we want to have a future in Seoul. But I think if the question was, would we consider having a future in like different parts of Korea, then maybe I would consider it, because maybe in different cities, different countrysides, I think you could have different experiences growing up there compared to growing up in Seoul. But yes, overall, I don't see myself having a future in Korea, just because I would like my kids to have lots of different experiences and lots of different opportunities. And I think growing up in one place kind of limits that.
I have regretted coming to Korea.
This is hard.
So if we
I don't regret it
step forward,
because the hardships builds character, but it was hard.
Okay, so we don't have anyone who regretted it, so now all disagreeers, please step forward.
Oh, okay. I don't regret it completely, because I think all the experiences all the things that you go through builds your character and teaches a lot of things about you and a lot of things about the world and different people. So that's something I'm grateful for. However, has it been easy living in Korea? No. Would I go through the things that I've been through in Korea again? No. But do I regret it? It's very difficult to answer this because there have been moments where I'm like, what is this experience teaching me? I'm so heartbroken and this is so difficult and I'm so lonely, but what is this experience teaching me and how is this going to be any good for me? But over time, I think you do end up learning those things, so I wouldn't say I completely regret it. However, it has been very difficult. Yeah, that's my answer.
Actually, as an exchange student, I of course cannot have any regrets because it is cool when you have an opportunity to go somewhere and study abroad, just because you can see another perspective how people think. You can know about their mindset, and I think it's great when you can be exchange student. But as a full-time student, I don't know. I don't think that I can do it here because sometimes I understand that Korea is not the place where I want to study, but where I want to, be a tourist, for example, or exchange student.
Yeah, I think as an exchange student, you can't really say that Korea, you're going to regret it. You're only here for, I don't know, a year to 4 months. And so I think that just getting to experience any different country, you can go to any other country in the world, and most likely you will say that you will not regret it for the most part because of how much culture you're going to experience there. I think not just learning about Korean culture, but every other culture that I've learned while being here. I've learned how to say hello in 15 other languages, which is so cool. And I think just getting to meet people from countries that I never would have gotten to meet in the first place is something that I can never go back and say that I regret it, or getting to see the exchange students that lived with me when I was 9 years old now is super cool. But I do think that if you live here a long time because of the pale, it's go-go culture, you will get lonely. There's literally parts of this culture that are so lonely that it doesn't feel like you have a place to call home, or it doesn't feel like you get time to rest. And so because of that, I feel like if you decided to live here full time, you might have some regrets.
I think I'm same with her. I'm not regret, but not totally, because being here is alone. Being here alone is it's still suffering, and kind of you don't have any friends to help, especially that you're not fluent in Korean. But sometimes I just find my parents and they told me that the experience you go through here is
It helps you to
Yeah,
build
it-
your own
yeah.
identity.
yeah and broaden our horizons. And the people from Hong Kong would not experience the same thing with me.
That's true.
So mostly it's the hardships in here.
I think I don't really regret, but I agree, it's definitely not been easy. And there's times where I think I'm oh, if I didn't come here, how would it be different, But at the same time, I feel if I there's no other path for me, if that makes sense, because I feel at the time before I came to Korea, I was so hell-bent on coming to Korea that if I didn't go through this experience, it wouldn't turn out the same, and I definitely would not be the same person. And I've also learned so many valuable things here and become so much stronger. And I don't know, this might sound a little deep, but I've experienced things I wouldn't experience as a white person in the US.
Yeah.
you know, like I kind of can now empathize with how some minorities and stuff are treated in my own country, and like have a better understanding of that. Of course, it's not going to be on the same degree, you know, as like severity as like someone, you know, from my country, but like at the same time, I can kind of like see through that lens and like empathize with that. So I think that's a very important lesson, you know.
Actually, a half year ago, I just having the same thing with the Korean students. Like, I'm taking HKDSE, just like the Korean SAT, and when now I'm looking back, this is the best path I'm going to. Like, if I'm not coming here, what else I can do? Like, because I failed the exam and back in HK in Hong Kong, so I have to be because I'm being harsh on myself. Like, I don't want to be a useless person. So at least I have to get into university. Yeah. So this is the best path I'm going to.
Exchange students have it easier.
Well, I think exchange students are coming here to experience the Korean culture more than the lessons. And because of exchange, you don't have really to care about the academics. So from what I saw, and their Instagram stories are always going to play, go play, and go playing, but I'm just studying, and studying, just like that.
I agree, but I do think it depends on the exchange student. Because I like, from my understanding, most exchange students are like pass-fail. So like, but not all of them are. Because I've had some friends who actually, their grades do transfer over. So like, and also just I think it's based on personality too. Like some exchange students, they can't like bring it to themselves to not do well in class, you know? But for the most part, I think the exchange experience, you know, you come over here, like he said, to like experience the culture and, you know, have fun, but but it doesn't like, you know, exclude the fact that there are struggles with being an exchange student as well, and I think that's also important to consider. But compared to like, I think it's also kind of like harsher because Korean study culture is so extreme. Yeah. So like when they see exchange students come over here, like, you know, kind of being nonchalant about studies, you know, it might be also different in like exchange students' culture and study culture, but then like here, because it's so extreme, it's like, you know, it makes that gap larger. So yeah.
I think in general, not just exchange students, but most other cultures have it easier for college in general. I wouldn't say that college is necessarily easier, because I think that definitely depends on what college you're doing, what degree you're doing, everything. But I think that Korea is 100% like, you have to study or else you're going to fail your classes. Because I have never studied really back at home in the US because we have so much homework. And so we have homework like 2-3 times a week. And so we just have to keep on doing homework. But when it comes to Korea, you have 2 tests. Sometimes in two of my classes, I have 1 test. And if you don't pass that test, you're screwed. And the way that they do grading here is so weird, because they want you to fail the test, but they want you to fail less than other people. And so if you're in the median of the people that failed less, then you get like a B. And so I think that's been the hardest part, but I definitely agree. If you guys have to do that for your entire college, career, yeah. I personally am one of the exchange students that I do care about my grades, and I am not just pass or fail. I do need to get a B or higher in my classes. But I can understand from a lot of other exchange students' perspectives, they just skip classes, they go weeks, visiting like Okinawa, Jeju, Hong Kong, like different parts, and they don't actually get to experience those countries' cultures. They just get to be tourists for the entire time that they're here. And I think that that's something that I personally have tried to not do, is I don't want to just be a tourist in South Korea. I want to be someone who actually can experience culture, to understand Korean culture. And I think a lot of what I'm understanding is that even though this is one of the biggest cities in the world and you're surrounded by people, it's one of the cultures that always feels alone. And I think that being someone that's super extroverted and loves talking to people and can reach out to people, I like feel alone at some times, where I'm just like, even in this big city, like, what do I do? Who do I reach out to? Like, and definitely, like, explaining from your perspective is, it's hard, especially when you don't have family. You feel like you don't have any friends, even if you do logically know that. That's not how it feels in this culture. And I think that definitely gets to a lot of Koreans as well, because a lot of Koreans that I've walked up to and been like, hi, like, you want to play basketball? They're like, and they're like, you want to talk to me? Like, and I think that that's just been kind of crazy here. But sorry, that's kind of going away from the education side of things.
I'm sorry. Yes, I would say that exchange students have it easier. For example, in my experience that I have experienced here, we have courses in English normally, but professors don't want to talk in English, so they're just teaching in Korean. And by doing so, the overall agreement is, okay, you don't complain, I let you pass. What? Yes. True. Yes. Even though the courses is considered should be in English, it is in Korean, and I have it in several courses, and so you just need to endure it. But for me as well, I care about my grades that I'm doing here, so I'm redoing everything on my own, and I'm translating everything on my own to actually learn what's going on in the courses. But I would say, like, overall, the graduate students just don't fail here. They're all passing, even though if you're doing like little or close to non-effort. So you can be a tourist. You can enjoy a lot of outside things, which is not normal in my mind, from my experience at my home university, when you are a student, because you need to learn like 40 hours per week, something like this.
Okay, I think I also a person who really like cares about my grades, but also I was able to know, to mix my tourist, like my wish to be a tourist and my wish to be a student here. So I traveled a lot, like inside the country, in Seoul also, but also like I studied hard because I knew that it's just like for myself, because like I want to take everything from this university, from this like this experience, all this stuff. But also, I also do not understand exchange students who just like, skip all the classes, because like it is very interesting to understand what people here can give you, and you just like, do not want to get it from them. So yeah, but for me, I think exchange students, it is like much more easier to be here. But like, I don't know, like how you survive here? So difficult. You're survivors, So yeah.
Okay, the prompt is, I wish I was part of the other group.
I think there have been times where I've imagined, oh, I wonder what it might have been like if I went to a different university, and I just came back to Korea as an exchange student. Because in my high school years, I did actually, when I started applying for universities, I did actually get accepted to other universities outside of Korea. But then I decided to come to Korea come to Korea for university. I think the big reason for me is I love to learn, and I love to understand what I'm learning, and I love to learn about different things. But one thing that has been hard as a full-time Korean student is a lot of my classes are in Korean, and even the classes that are supposedly English are sometimes also taught in Korean, or they mix Konglish, and you just end up very confused. And I think if I came as an exchange student, I think that would be a good balance for me, because I get to experience what it's like to be living in Korea, and I get to have some Korean friends. But if I went back to my home university, I'd be able to understand what I'm learning a bit better. So that's why I wonder it would have been nice to be in a different group.
Okay, and my disagreeers, please step forward.
So I totally get your opinion. For me personally, I would not likely be in your group, to be honest. Mostly because of the part that you've mentioned with the Korean classes. If a class is considered English, please teach it in English. Because you're excluding so many people who are not fluent in English, in Korean, and since it's a very internationally focused university, you have several students who are not able to do it. So we are instantly excluding a lot of people. And think about going through this experience, semester after semester after semester after semester. I would not do that. I would just simply pass out, in my opinion.
For me, I think there's like times like I agree, like I would want to be an exchange student, but at the same time I feel like because being an international student is like it's a different experience of Korea. Like it's an experience you don't get as an exchange student. You're almost like one of the regular students, but you have like a whole nother, I don't know, experience. I keep saying experience, but yeah, so like for me, I don't think I would change it, but I kind of go back and forth definitely, because I feel like if I went to like college in the States, it would definitely be different and like it would be easier, but at the same time, I wouldn't like go have the same things that I go through here. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that you can get that experience if you just do a full year of exchange. I know there's a lot of exchange students that do like a full year of exchange, and they're pretty much, I would say they get the whole vibe of being a full-time student, the ups and the downs, and also being an exchange student, like we literally get all the benefits with very little of the problems of being a full-time student. So why wouldn't you want to be an exchange student, in my personal opinion? And I have also talked to a lot of the other students that are full-time here, and they're just like, dude, if I could study in the U.S. for like full-time, that they could get a job in the U.S. and they could be set. And so just like looking from a lot of cultures' perspectives, like sort of what you were saying, if you want to go anywhere for money, the U.S. is the place. And I think that's kind of the reason we're all in college for the most part, is because not always, but a lot of times you're in college because you get money, and your degree gets you more money. Granted, some people go for their passion or something like that, and that's amazing as well. But I think speaking from that perspective, I get all the benefits of saying that, oh, I'm a Korea University student and I can have all the connections with the alumni of Korea University, but I don't have to experience all the loneliness and all that part of the culture, and feeling like I have to struggle and study every single day for my classes. Because for us, it's not pass or fail for me, but majority of exchange students is. So, yeah.
Okay, The next prompt is, I have an equal opportunity to my Korean peers.
I have an equal opportunity to my Korean peers because I also own a Korean passport and I'm South Korean by nationality. That's it. What?
Can you speak Korean?
Okay, let me elaborate. Good point. However, not all the same opportunities are given to me because I am a little bit different to Koreans. And sometimes my Korean sounds like a foreigner, so a lot of people treat me as a foreigner as well.
So the biggest thing that I experience here is that if you don't speak Korean, it is hard to communicate. I know it's a big thing to assume that everybody speaks English. You should not do that. But for example, if you're going to the Foreign Citizens Ministry or Institute, I don't know how exactly the word is, and you go there and you're going to the register to talk to the person who is like, whose job is this to care about you, and you're telling like, yeah, I cannot speak Korean, can you please help me? And the moment they are turning away, putting the headphones in, and are like, I don't want to treat foreigners. This is sometimes very difficult to experience.
I've had that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like one thing in Korea is maybe not as much in Seoul and especially around like Korea University, but when you go to like the smaller cities like Daegu or like Icheon, there's like places that legit just because you're like a foreigner, they'll be like 없어요, 없어요, which is like I can't do it.
Yeah.
They just go like this to me, and I order in Korean, and they're like, and then they like second guess because they're like, wait a minute, I can understand you enough to like order food, and I'm like, what country wouldn't you be able to just point at the menu and like understand food? And so I think like from that perspective, sure, we have some, but that's just like ordering food, so that's small things. But I also think that we have so much more advantages as well than a lot of Koreans, like especially males. Like they have to serve in the military for I think it's 1.5 years. Yeah. And being obviously like an American citizen, I don't have to serve in the military. I get to choose what I want to do, and it feels like you almost have 1.5 years taken away from your life, is what I've heard from a lot of my Korean male friends. And it's like you have to do it. They don't get to choose. I mean, they get to choose what branch they want to serve in and stuff like that. But from that perspective, it feels like everyone's looking at me being 21 and like graduating and having a job and stuff like that already. And they're like, I can't do that until I'm like 24. Like they literally cannot do that and get an education that quickly. And so from that perspective, we have such a better opportunity to, you know, have a step forward in our lives early on.
The job opportunities are different from the Koreans. I don't know. It's like because South Korea is being more international. People from other countries would have a better job opportunities to get sometimes inside I think the company. That or the like the opposite. Like some Korean companies don't want any foreigners inside.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah, I agree. Like especially for like the job opportunities, it's a lot harder for foreigners to get jobs just because they don't want to deal with like the paperwork that comes with visas or like the potential that they might not understand everything in Korean, you know, even if they have like a certification that they speak Korean. For me, I have like more of a concrete example because I play basketball for like a club at our university, and we like participate in tournaments and stuff like that. but there's always a limit on foreigners. So like, for example, like we just, it's kind of crazy actually, but like we just had a tournament this past weekend, and they were like, actually at most of the tournaments, they're like only one foreigner from each team can play at a time on the court. So, but like the tournament we just played in, they actually put like a piece of green tape on all the foreigners' jerseys, like on the sleeve here, so like you can see that we're I mean, as if you couldn't like already tell, but like, so it's just like little things like that, you know. And I think like being a Westerner in Korea, you definitely have more privileges, for sure, for sure. But like, you know, in general, I think just like being a foreigner in Korea, you don't have as many, like, you have like a lot more obstacles you have to go through, and like there's not as many opportunities provided to you, whether it's because of your nationality, because of like where you're from, or like the language you speak and stuff like that. So
Have you guys had like a situation where they like don't let you in to some places?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm trying to find actually I'm trying to find a house. Yeah, and some people are the like
landlords?
yeah, they just say that, oh, we don't accept foreigners.
Yeah.
Even though I can speak a little Korean, like she said no. I definitely no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
So let's continue on a brighter note. And the prompt is, I find it easy making friends in Korea.
But I would not say that it is especially because of Korea. I would say it is maybe because of our situation. Like, we too, as I would say, are very outgoing persons. And combine that with the fact that we are here in the situation that we have an exchange semester. We are here to experience the culture. It is very easy to get to know a lot of people. And this university offers a very good buddy program. Like, the Cuba program is insanely good. I have no comparison to another buddy system from another university who is that good. And they're taking a lot of effort to present us in the country. They are meeting you privately, they're helping you with everything, and you really get to know those people and a lot of friendships. And it's not like 1, 2, or 3 persons. It's like 10, 20, 30, 50 people who get to know each other very well.
Since I'm tall, usually I get a lot of looks naturally. I know a little bit of Korean. I can say that I grew up with Koreans for 6 years of my life. So a lot of Koreans are like, oh, wow. And I'm not gonna lie, I've gotten free food. I've gotten, like, people try to like give me money. They've let me into places. I've gotten into free concerts. Like, the life here is pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, all I've been doing is I say hi. I've met people that are like celebrities, models, you know, really popular people, and that's just like, I go on a run and I meet and I just like say hello and I say like, you know, 안녕하세요, and just, you know, and then they're, whatever little broken Korean I know, I talk to them in, and then they speak to me in whatever broken English they know. And I've actually been in places that say no foreigners, but I go with people that are not foreigners and they still let me in. So I will say that I have a lot of privilege being an American, tall, white person. I don't really I get a lot of stuff that benefits that way. I mean, who else? I never get bought food in, you know, America. I mean, maybe from my friends, but like, not from like people that I just meet the day of. And so I think that because of that, I get so many random experiences. I'm also outgoing, so it fits my personality. And I'm not really afraid to make a fool of myself. So whether it's, you know, walking up to random people, I've definitely been shooed away by some old Korean ladies. They do not like outgoing people that much. They'll be like they'll be like, Hajima, Hajima, like, don't do that. And I was like, I'm like, what am I doing? But yeah, in Korea, when there's a city with so many people that are all struggling with being lonely, if you're someone that loves being around people and everyone's lonely, they're gonna look to you as sort of like a light in all the darkness, and they're gonna be like, hey, do you wanna talk? And hey, do you wanna do that? And like being a Christian, I love to share my faith with a lot of other people. So it's been a super cool chance being in Korea, and actually a lot of Koreans know English incredibly well. Like they'll be like, oh, my English is so bad, but then they understand everything that I say when I speak this fast in a natural way. And I'm just like, what do you mean your English is bad? So yeah, it's been a super cool experience, and you know, my follower count has also got up on Instagram and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, what I wanted to add is, as well, if you're going a little bit outside of Seoul and you're meeting people, with the happy and good mentality of Korean people who live here and maybe are older as well, they are inviting you under a lot of things. For example, when I was at the Firefly Festival, which is like a very rural city, of, I don't know, 200,000 people, like rural, you know. We were the attraction. A lot of people came towards us, wanted to talk with us, invited us on food, on regional liquor and stuff like this, and they wanted to know us. And this was a very good and nice experience as well.
Yeah, they practically treat you. Some of them like call you like prince or princess here if you're like a white person that, I don't know, dresses nice or something like that, because all of their culture is they make you have to be my microphone holder. But I will say it's very similar to like South American countries or Middle Eastern countries, where you get to meet that person the day of, and they'll be like, have a meal with us, come stay with us. I know Middle Eastern countries, especially Morocco, is the country that I know a little bit more of because of my friends and missionaries that have been there, is they will literally ask you to stay the night with them if you meet them an hour before. And I think that I've gotten to see a little bit more of that around cities more like Busan and like Daegu, and definitely outskirts of Seoul, you get more of that. So yeah.
Korean money is crazy.
Yeah, we have different experience. Like, now, I do meet some friends. Like now, my friends are like overseas Korean, but actually, I want to meet more Korean friends, but it turns out that I still don't have any Korean friends. Yeah, it's kind of hard, especially that you're not speaking Korean. like sometimes people just ask me, "Are you Korean?" But when I said I'm not Korean, they just go away. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think the language is a big part too, just because like a lot of Koreans, although they are good at English, they're like very shy about their English. And if they like look at you and they're like, they think you don't speak Korean, they won't approach you. They'll be like, but it's not worth it. But I think like for me too, like my first semester here, it was easier to meet Korean friends. But I think it's because of like, we also have like a similar program for international students as Cuba. It's like QUISA. But it's like, it's not like genuine. I think like especially if you just come to Korea, you're like all like the rose colored lens, you're like, oh, everything's so nice. Everyone's so friendly. But then like you get into like your second semester and those same people who are like, oh, let's be friends. They don't really contact you. And you see them on the street, they're like, oh, hey, and then that's it, So, yeah. They don't remember your name. Like, so it's like, I think it's hard finding genuine friends here. And I think the friends I have found that are Korean have been through like clubs and stuff like that. And just because we spend a lot of time together and have like shared interests. But even then, I feel like I never really get close with them. Like, it's always kind of, standoffish. Like most of the friends I've met here have been international students. Like it's really easy meeting international students friends for me, just because like we have shared experiences and like we're like, oh, we're all in this together, kind of thing. So.
Like it's really hard for like wait, I forgot what I'm gonna say. Yeah, I mean it's hard to it's really easy to meet new friends like Korean friends, but it's actually hard to meet with them outside the school or like outside the class, and yeah, like. Only yeah, for now, only for 1 or 2 overseas Korean are friends with me. Like have a deep talk with them and have fun with them outside the school. Yeah.
I think one big reason why I think it's difficult to make friends in Korea is because when I came to Korea and started my studies at KU, it was 2020, like right when COVID hit. And so I had almost 3 entire years of online school out of my 4 total years. So I think that took away a lot of opportunities for me to meet up with people and to get close with some people. And I think another big way of a lot of Koreans making friends is a drinking culture, especially in universities. I've had times where I've asked questions to my classmates, and they have been like, "No, you can't ask me that. You can only ask me that after we're drunk or when we're drinking. That's a question you ask when we're drinking." And so that's kind of been a bit difficult for me because I'm not a big drinker and I don't really like the drinking culture in Korea and how we can only bond if we have a couple drinks together and play some drinking games. So that's something that's been hard for me. And if I can say that for you two, generally the trend is that people approach you. For me, because I look very Korean, because I am Korean, I have to be the one to go up to them. You don't see people coming up to me and be like, "Oh, where are you from? Oh, I'd love to know more about you," because I look Korean and I speak Korean, so a lot of people think that I'm Korean. So I must go up to people and make the effort to invite them. And I found that being in Korea, I haven't gotten a lot of invitations, but I was generally the one to invite people to events or food or hang out. And when I have gotten invitations to maybe a meal, a couple of Koreans would say, "Oh, let's grab a meal sometime." And I'll be like, "Yes, that sounds amazing. When do you want to schedule?" They'll be like, "Oh, soon." And then it just never gets scheduled. I found that's the general trend here. Like, it's just a way of being friendly. Like how when someone asks, "Oh, how are you?" They don't actually want to know how you are. It's just a manner of speaking. Yeah. So I think that's one of the reasons that's been hard to make friends. As you said, it's very difficult to make deep friends and real close friends. And I think another reason for that is Koreans aren't very used to talking about their feelings, and they're not very used to opening and sharing about themselves. So when I asked some personal questions to classmates who I thought were close, they found it rude and intrusive instead of, "Oh, this person wants to get to know me. Oh, this person wants to be friends with me." So, but I think it's also very different on whether you are Korean and you have a Korean name and you speak Korean, and whether you are a clear foreigner that people can tell. Yeah.
But like I agree that it is like really difficult to meet some friends here, like Korean friends. It is like impossible because they as you said, they don't want to share with you. And like in Russia, it is normal that you spend a lot of time together, and then you can call each other that you are friends. So here it is like difficult because you have different schedule, you have like different mindset, and that's why here I have a lot of Russian friends or Russian speaking friends, because like we share the same culture and the same mindset, and it's difficult to me to get close with people from other countries, even if I really want to. Like sometimes it just doesn't work.
I will say a lot of the people that I met, I also do not drink. I haven't really been to any of the Cuba events other than like the field day because I just like playing sports, which is also, all my Korean friends are mostly from, I am in 2 volleyball clubs here, so I've met all my Korean friends through volleyball. And I feel like if you have like a mutual interest like volleyball, they're super quick to just be friendly and stuff like that to you. And also, I agree, my situation is very unique, but a lot of the people that I've met have been through church or through shared connections. So like I've been to like a missionary camp here with other missionaries. I've been to big church festivals with like the international church. I've gone and put myself in situations so that I would have this unique experience. But I can completely understand from, especially someone who looks Korean. I know a lot of missionaries that are Korean American, where they don't speak Korean very well, but they'll get treated like a Korean. So, like one time, one of my Korean friends, she walked onto a bus with a cup of coffee, and literally the driver said, "Get out! Like get off my bus! Like you cannot be on my bus with a cup of coffee." But then I realized like, I've walked onto a bus with like a whole handful of like snacks and I'm eating, and people are just like too afraid to walk up to like a tall dude. I think that's also another thing, and most of the time when they walk up to me, they want to have a conversation, like why are you doing that? But then they eventually forget that I'm eating food, and then they have a conversation. So, yeah.
I think previously you mentioned how when you pop out your Korean skills, people would be like, "Oh, that's so good! Like, oh, that's cute! Oh, that's really nice. He's trying." For me,
Yeah, of course.
I have a slight accent when I speak Korean, so there are sometimes people they're like, "Oh, you're very good at Korean," but there have been times where like, "Why do you sound like that?" Or "That's weird." So it's not been the same response as you've gotten.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.